You're not live yet.
I'm not live yet.
You're now live.
I'm now live.
You are.
It's 3:00. We are now going to call to order this meeting of the Waterville Valley Board of Selectmen, Wednesday, December 29th, 2021. I don't see anyone here for privilege of the floor. First item is minutes review and approval from December 8th. Did everybody have a chance to look at those?
Yeah, I saw Richard votes.
And they were great, weren't they?
They were always.
Okay, we have a motion to,
I had a couple questions.
oh, yeah.
Was the 73.5 correct, Mark? I thought it was higher. The percentage of collections, weren't you questioning that at the time? Or did I just misremember?
Well, we were also early. We were early.
Was that
I
it?
don't think we hit the due date.
No, remember, Mike pointed out it was 97% or something like that. It was in the 90s.
That needs to be added.
Yeah, I did say 73 initially, but my
Right.
math was wrong and Mike corrected it. And I think it was in the mid 90s.
All right. So that's
I don't
what
remember the exact number.
anything else?
No, if everyone's happy, you don't want to call it off site, right? You want to call it off premises. That was the other question I had.
Yeah, off premise, not off site. But whatever. And is there a difference?
Well, if you talk to Terry Waite, there is a big difference. An important difference.
Okay. What do you want it to be called? We'll call it that.
Premises is what I usually, that's what I usually think of.
I'll pick my battles.
Premises is fine.
Okay,
I have a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
I will, so move that.
I'll second, all in favor.
Aye.
Okay. Budget packet.
yeah, so Mike had a question about the revenues. There were some incorrect percentages on the sheets that we sent out. However, the total numbers, the totals and the calculations of the impact on the tax rate are all accurate on the budget summary sheet that we showed you. So there were some individual percentages in the comparison columns that needed to be updated, and we have done so. If you want corrected copies, we can give those to you. But the totals at the bottom line are correct. And Mike, did you have an opportunity to talk to Judy about those things? Okay.
Alrighty. Department heads. Got Joe here too, so why don't we start out with Dylan and then pull Joe in so he doesn't have to stay for the whole meeting.
Okay. You sure you want to do that?
No, but we gotta get there sometime.
Okay. Don't have much to report other than obviously it's a busy week this week. There's a lot of people here in town showing up on the water and wastewater side. Penta's gonna be back this week to finish the repairs on the lagoon aeration system. All in all, everything's been going well. Haven't had any issues.
How much would you say percentage-wise we're at compared to last year?
At this time, so this week is always,
It's
It's relatively the same. yeah, it's relatively the same. So for example, we got in 230,000 gallons in yesterday and 206,000 gallons the day before. And it's literally, if you were to do percentage wise, the first 2 days of Christmas vacation week,
Yeah.
it's almost identical
Yeah.
across the previous 2 years. So, but it's interesting that we had the hockey tournament in town as well, or there was a hockey tournament down
No, there hasn't been a hockey tournament in the last couple of weeks.
No, there was one Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah, there
Oh,
was,
there was?
yeah,
Big one, 2019 or something.
Yeah.
yeah,
really?
yeah. It was a bunch of teams from Massachusetts that
I
came out.
thought that was school year.
I heard they didn't show up.
Oh, they did.
Yeah,
show up.
okay, no, I didn't see people in
Oh.
town
No.
square, so.
No,
yeah.
it was scheduled, they didn't show up.
So then,
Okay,
so then that's.
You
that's
know,
no
we
those
scheduled
people.
You got your finger on the pulse.
Well, no, it's in town square, I can
Yeah,
tell
you
what
can
kind of
tell.
people are here and how many people are here.
Yeah.
And I didn't remember seeing hockey people, but I wasn't spending a lot of, I was doing family things.
Yeah. And that makes sense.
So that stands out even more so than without having those people here.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering about, because it's been slower than usual the first few weeks of Christmas vacation this year. And I'm wondering if we're seeing more in the condos being filled with family members gathering here as opposed to going to Massachusetts or
Sure.
somewhere else.
Yeah.
For the holiday.
Definitely appears that way.
It feels that way at the rec department.
Okay. Why don't we hear from Joe about the wastewater treatment plant update?
Sure. Okay, I think, yeah, Steve, can you pull that plan up on your screen?
I can if you can't.
Thanks, Mark. I'll make you a host.
Okay,
And I think you should all have do you have a copy of the plan?
I have it on my computer, there's one right here.
Right there, yeah, okay. So I think when I was here a couple of months ago, we talked about,
I'll see it.
okay, we talked about having our surveyor do an aerial, drone flight so we could get a base map of the whole parcel for the, not just the wastewater plant, but the, surrounding town properties. Thank you, Mark and Steve.
let me see. I need to figure out how to make this.
That close button on the right.
There should be another one. I can't close that.
Yeah, straight down from where your cursor was, Mark.
Straight down.
Well, halfway down the page, there's an arrow on that column.
Ah,
There you go. So we to start out the study phase, we like to take a look at the whole area, what's available for space for a new facility, understanding that the existing facility has to maintain its operations. So we've met with Mark and Dylan, Rich, Steve, Jim a couple of times now to kind of go through some iterations of where would we put the new plant, and how would that affect the existing plant operations as well as existing town operations. And we looked at some options. This overall plan, map 107 looks like lot 5, I think that's 14 acres, which is the main big parcel here, the town-owned parcel. About 11 acres is taken up by your existing wastewater plant. The remaining 3 acres is this building here, the Rust building, the salt shed, the public works garage, and then the paving, clear water lane, tack lane, and all that. We looked at some options of if we were to build a new plant, how could we build a new plant, keep the old plant running? We looked at the area that's up in the old sludge drying bed, which is kind of the upper right of that image there. Right in there. Thank you, Mark. That area is undeveloped. We'd have to take the sludge drying bed out of commission. And it would allow for construction in an area that's not being used for much else at the time. However, that would put a new treatment plant right next to condos and other buildings right off Tecumseh Road. So from a neighborly perspective of odors, potential odor issues, putting the facility that close to existing dwellings is not really favorable. We also looked at trying to squeeze the new plant in around the existing treatment plant building, right in that area, Mark, thank you. And there's some challenges in doing that with a lot of pipe in the ground between the existing treatment plant and Lagoon 1. There's a lot of pipe that transfers along those embankments between Lagoon 1 and Lagoon 2, and salt shed and the public works garage, as well as a lot of pipes in the corridor along the river where the main sewer line comes into the treatment plant, as well as pipes that run up along that embankment to the sludge drying and sludge holding area and to the lagoons. So constructing foundations for new treatment equipment would be really tricky to try to keep the old plant running. There's a lot of delicate pipe there. So that was another option. We even talked about what if we were to repurpose this town office site for wastewater and relocate the town office. That puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the town to look for a new town office public safety site at the same time you're doing a major treatment plant upgrade. So we set that option aside. And what you see on the plan right now, we have just put some brown boxes in there and a couple of blue boxes. Those are treatment process components, as well as a operations building, an odor control area, a sludge drying area. That can fit in while the existing treatment plant operates, while Public Works operates. Doesn't affect public safety in the town office complex. But what it does do, there's not enough room around the existing treatment plant. It does push the main operations building, sludge handling, odor control onto the adjacent parcel. I think that's the Tyrell parcel. It does push that part of the operations over into that parcel. And that parcel has some wetlands on it as well. So what we've shown there is the drier portion of the parcel to not impact wetlands. But it does lend itself to construction access, continual access to the existing treatment plant garage in the back through that existing driveway right now. It will create a lot of construction traffic we've talked about as well. And we're working through the iterations of construction sequencing, operation sequencing, construction laydown areas. And one of the thoughts we had is right now, all of the dumpsters that are out in front of Public Works is perhaps relocating those up to the area off of Tecumseh Road where the sludge drying bed is, either taking all or a portion of that sludge drying bed and filling it in and lining the dumpsters up in that area and creating a curb cut and apron off of Tecumseh Road. If we were to be able to do that during the construction period, that would take your public traffic out of that whole area and put it off Tecumseh Road. And then allow the heavy equipment and heavy, the concrete trucks, cranes, other equipment to come and go around Public Works and the existing wastewater plant. There's pros and cons to all the different locations, but this is a concept that we've kind of talked through a couple of times now and recognize that this is probably going to be the least intrusive to other operations for the town during construction. It does allow the existing treatment plant to continue running. It also would allow us to sequence how things start up. We could start up the main process area of the new plant and divert flow from the influent room from the new plant over to the new process. That would allow us that Mark, could you highlight that other rectangular section up by the treatment lagoon? Little Headworks building.
Headworks. Oh, right.
Off the edge of the lagoon, keep going to the left.
Oh, this?
There, yeah. So we haven't fleshed it out entirely at this point, but it would be because the gravity sewer line comes into the plant along that corridor. It would be beneficial if the grade allows to have a headworks area where there's some screening and preliminary treatment that could flow by gravity through there and flow by gravity to the process areas. We haven't figured all that out yet, but that would eliminate continuous pumping, which is what you have now. Everything flows in by gravity and has to get pumped up to the lagoons. So we will be investigating that further as we go forward. Looking at the land area, the town does have multiple parcels here. That 14 acres, which is the main big parcel, about 11 acres of that is taken up by the existing plant. In locating things the way we're showing here, ultimately, if the town were to acquire the Tyrell property to be able to put the treatment buildings there, ultimately, the new facility would take up about 4 acres versus the 11 it takes up now, which would free up space for the town for other uses. Once the lagoons will have to stay in operation throughout construction, but once the lagoons are decommissioned, those areas could be leveled out. The temporary transfer station could be relocated or could stay there, or could be moved, elsewhere on the property. There will be some available space perhaps for, solar panels or other uses that the town might like for that parcel.
What will, Joe, what will happen to the current plan?
Yeah, we've been talking through that with Dylan and Rich and Jim, Mark and Steve. We're kicking around some different ideas about whether that becomes a garage area or storage area. It could even potentially be converted, for some transfer station use. The difficulty with the space as it is and trying to repurpose it, we pretty much have to use everything in that building until the new plant is ready.
Right.
So what would end up happening is there would be a shell left. Once the new plant's operating, you would have a building and a roof and a structure that you could work with. Transfer station was one thought that Jim had, that could be potentially in that location. And if not, there's always a need for storage and, garage space and mechanical space to be able to work on equipment for
So
the
the idea would
treatment
be to
plant.
keep the building.
It may
structure.
be, we'll have our structural engineer evaluate it too, to see what,
Yeah, ripping stuff out, what.
yeah, if it, by the time you clear everything out and what's left, is it really a good structure to maintain, or is it gonna need a lot of work to bring it up, up to a longer period of usefulness? So,
I think we'll also find, Rich, that when we're taking everything out of that building, we're gonna remove most of the roof in order to do that. So, at least a big portion of the roof, maybe not all of it, but I don't know how much is actually gonna be left there once we gut it out.
What about this area down here across from the dumpsters between Clearwater Lane and TAC Lane?
the area with the vegetation in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not enough space to put the whole treatment plant. And that would, I think, would kind of separate things out. Right now, where we've shown that little rectangular headwork structure adjacent to Lagoon 1, and then the treatment process units between the existing public works facility and the existing treatment plant, those appear to be the best locations for those 2 blocks of structures.
Mhm.
So the only thing that could move down there, Margaret, would be the long rectangular structure, which
Right.
is right now an odor control and operations building and dewatering building. Visually, I'm not sure, is that, right along Triple I Road?
Would be right over the road, screen.
But would
Yeah.
that obviate the need to buy the Tyrell property?
It's possible. I think there'd probably be some more pumping and other long-term costs that would be incurred by move. Right now, we've tried to arrange things to minimize pumping between
Got
the different structures and buildings.
You can always do landscaping along
The other concern is that this footprint that we're showing is the minimum required area. So as we get into the design work, the actual buildings that get built may be larger than what we're showing right now. When we were doing this land analysis, we are only using the smallest possible area.
Now, a question on, these lagoons will eventually be decommissioned, correct?
That's correct.
Well, let's think out of the box for a second. Tell your face is turning on me already.
That's just how I look.
All right. If we
I
take
can't
the
help
upper lagoon, the one that's across from the current building there, and could we decommission half of it? and build on the other half. And move those 4 barrels up there to a crossover there. And go with a smaller 1.5 lagoons for a shorter period of time.
I don't think so,
Okay,
because
no.
of the dam,
What?
because of the dam that's
Yeah.
intact there. We have a permitted dam with the state, so you'd have to disturb the dam in order to do any construction up there.
Okay,
That's
Yeah.
mainly the only reason.
all right.
I guess we have to tell them.
The other thing I just wanted on the record, I want you to check on that Tyrell lot. I have been told that there is a very expensive electric line that has to be built. Something to be built there. This is a problem we had at the Waterville company, and we we're gonna build the garages. And part of our construction cost, there was an estimate of close to $100,000 to do an electric line. that goes through there.
Buried one?
I just want to be sure if that exists, or you guys know about it before we go further, so the co-op will probably tell you that.
There is a transformer on the corner there.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
it's-
line that runs out there, it's not like, move it.
Right,
right, and that's to the transformer in front of the, in front of the plant.
Yeah, and one goes down back here.
Yeah, it goes down the pump house area.
Okay,
So does this plan essentially put to rest which direction we're going with regard to the wastewater itself, or the water that's been treated, I should say? We're not talking about buying land and having it percolate through the land. We're
Right.
talking about 100% we're going into the river now.
right,
Right.
Okay.
right. Yeah, that's a good question and good clarification, because we were previously, earlier this year, talking about would there be a benefit to having a groundwater discharge and not having a permit to the river. But that really doesn't look feasible based on available properties.
Which is unfortunate, because that's what so much difficulty lies as you
Right.
discharge into the river.
Right. I do want to comment on Mark's comment about the smallest footprint. So the size of this plant, it's 550,000 gallons a day.
Yep.
Average daily flow is what it was designed for.
Correct.
So the components we've shown there would be a type of activated sludge process called the sequencing batch reactor. So basically, it's making multiple use of tanks that can serve multiple purposes. So you don't have to have as many tanks. There's conventional activated sludge, extended air. There's all these different processes. This type of process is one that our team has designed for a number of plants this size, up to about 1 million gallons a day. This works really, really well. And I think we'll be able to stay with this, with this footprint. But it's a good point that Mark makes. There are other treatment processes out there that would, require big circular clarifiers, aeration tanks, secondary clarifiers, disinfection. This is a pretty compact plant, but it fits well with the size of the facility here in Waterville Valley.
It can be expanded without, once this is built.
Yes, yeah. We're gonna be looking as the study evolves and as we get into the design concepts. Right now, the 3 blue boxes, those are the reactors, and we're showing a 3rd reactor already. You really only would need 1 for your average flow today. We'd have a 2nd as a backup. We'd have a 3rd in case you hit really high flows. You might have 2 in operation, but you'd always have a backup. But as we lay things out, we will look at those types of things and be able to expand. If we need another 4th tank, we'll make sure we have space on site for that 4th tank.
When we decommission the lagoons, are we talking just layman's terms, just filling, basically filling them in?
Yeah, you have to remove the sludge first and dispose of that. And then it's regrading, I think, and Jim would be a good one to consult on this. We haven't cut a bunch of cross sections through there, but those dams that Dylan mentioned, we probably pull those in and level that area out. And again, it frees up quite a bit of acreage for the
Right.
town for future use.
Right, and I'm wondering, this is one of those out of the box experiences that you have so often, that rarely come to me. But is there any way we can think of how we may use the land if we were to go with this configuration? Then it could just have some idea downstream as to,
The solar field.
it could be a
I think
solar
a solar
field.
field would be a great idea.
Could be a solar field. Got some beautiful views, from that area. Not looking at Dylan's operation, but to look up towards
Be a beautiful place for a fire station.
Noon. I was talking views.
It would,
We'll
Dave.
put nice windows in.
Yeah, noon tea, Jenny.
Did you say a selectmen's meeting room on the third floor?
Oh,
That's
well,
right.
okay.
Well,
Now we're
we
getting
can
closer.
work that out.
No, it does, I mean, it really does, it creates, and in a community where you are strapped for available land, doing this conversion to a different treatment process does free up some space for any kind of, future uses.
And I would say something that Jim and Mark know, we've been thinking about other ways to deal with our municipal solid waste as well. So this is gonna give us some options where we could choose to do it differently in the future.
Yeah, and that temporary area that, Mark, if you could circle that area off Tecumseh Road again, we had just thought that during construction, it's gonna be really disruptive with concrete trucks moving in, excavators, gonna be earth materials coming in, then there'll be equipment, once the structures are poured. Just getting those dumpsters out of there temporarily up off Tecumseh Road, we could create a kind of a loop road, situation where residents can just come off Tecumseh Road, pull in and get rid of their materials and come back out.
Yeah, maybe a better place. We may want to leave it there.
Right. And it may lend itself to a future use for that same reason, just because the access now is off Tecumseh Road. It just separates the public traffic from this lower area.
Is that
which is-
access on town land or easement?
That is town land, I believe. Yep.
Town land
Well,
is-
It's all town land.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's two parcels that converge there,
Right.
and they both are town parcels. so.
and
These little
Valley
triangles.
Run Property Management has an easement across the land, right, to get into their building.
We actually, Margaret, adjusted, the property line doesn't go out here anymore. It's straight across here.
And Mark, what does that leave for access to Tecumseh Road then off the?
To
town?
Tecumseh Road, it leaves this entire area here.
Yeah.
For access out onto Tecumseh Road.
So that's an opportunity to make a transition up there before the active plant construction starts. Just to minimize the potential for
And
public
that could be
conflict.
the area where transfer station.
Yeah,
moves to.
could be. And then-
Behind that.
And just to make one or two other points, Mark, could you go to like the southwest corner of the DPW building with your cursor? Yeah, and then just kind of draw a line right over to close to Tack Lane. Now, if you can imagine, yeah,
Oh, right here,
it's triple I, yeah.
right
And if you
here.
can imagine, yeah, if you can imagine from the southwest corner to the corner of Tack Lane, where Tack Lane meets Triple I.
Right
I mean,
here.
Yeah, right there. That line would say Jersey barriers or some kind of fencing, because there's gonna be, logistically, there's gonna be a whole lot of area that's gonna be needed for lay down of construction equipment.
In this area.
So that whole area would be bound up.
Right,
And,
so we have to find somewhere else to be.
right. But, and then that still would allow access to town hall and for the public. And then I think another thing is those SBR tanks that allows for elevation so that they're in the ground as deep as possible, because you want as much cover around them as you can get. And what was my third point? I'll think of it. But-
But the buildings are these line up for, the actual office building.
Right.
Garage, operating.
Right.
Yeah.
Odor control.
Odor
and
control,
dewatering, and then-
dewater.
Those were the offices.
And the order of those may change how they're
Right.
pieced together and all that, but the thought is that Jim mentioned, having the process tanks a little bit on higher ground so they can be built into the hill also affords us the opportunity to maybe drain down to the dewatering building by gravity.
By
not have to
gravity and
keep
not having
pumping.
to pump.
So we're looking at all the elevations as well as to how we could minimize continuous pumping at treatment plants is a, it's a constant cost. And if we can minimize the amount of pumping that you have to do, that's always beneficial in the long run.
What is the fourth box in that box of four? The first three are labeled, the fourth one is not.
This one?
Or false handling building,
Yeah.
or sludge disposal. The largest one, Margaret?
The
Right.
first
Yeah.
one.
That'd be the solids.
Yeah,
handling.
sorry, that note got blocked out when we put the lot.
Yeah, that would be where.
Oh,
the,
this,
sludge would have to be trailered and hauled off. Because we will no longer have a sludge drying bed per se in a sludge lagoon. So that would be, that's part of the dewatering process and the sludge drying.
And that old process is not permittable anymore, so. Or
We still
should say
haven't gotten the
permissible,
permit,
I
have
want to
we?
be correct. It's not permissible.
They told us by the end of the year, so we have 2 business days.
Did they say what year?
Yeah, no.
No, they did not specify.
It was originally supposed to be in summer, fall of this year.
Oh, no, we're well away.
Right.
I just clarifying, that's all.
For the record.
So when they say the end of the year, I was imagining.
Yeah, I did reach out to some folks at DES who are in the compliance group, and they had indicated there's some movement on the permit. We should see something in the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
But
So we're dealing with the ASCO calendar.
Yeah.
Movement on the waste management.
Yeah, well, that's fine. We'll stop that conversation.
So I suppose the good news is we are meeting monthly. We're having progress meetings monthly to have these discussions as we go through the early stages of the study. And it's important for us to kind of nail down where things go so that when we come up with the alternatives analysis, which we've already talked about a few areas we've looked at on site, it helps us to advance the project a little more quickly with the regulatory agencies, with DES. We get them involved. We're going to get to about a 30% study phase where we'll have gone through all the data, and we'll meet again and talk about, are we good with this layout? Then we'll specifically look at process components, and we'll evolve this concept up to about a 60% level. We'll engage the DES at 30, 60, and 90%. So when it's time to submit the report, it's a very quick turnaround, which allows you to get into design faster and take advantage of the ARPA funding and other funding that's surfacing right now.
Speaking of which, bottom line cost, that's something like this.
Other facilities this size, 15 million, 15 to 20. However, we're seeing with Waterville Valley, we did put in some preliminary applications, funding applications. Waterville Valley is in what they call Group 1, which is the highest priority funded projects. There have been discussions at DES. We thought initially the Valley would get 2% loan forgiveness. We're now looking at 20 to 30% and maybe higher. And that's because there's so much funding coming through the programs right now that they're looking at the highest priority projects and trying to help those communities get their projects through faster. So.
And this gives us the extra year, so.
Yeah.
To think about what that bonding is gonna be in 23.
If there was some way to avoid having to buy that Durrell property.
well, I think the goal would be to get the authorization in 23. I don't think we need to take the money. At least we won't need to take all of it in 23. But we would look to have a budget estimate by the end of 22 so that we could get a bond authorization for the rest of the funding.
Right. I still like the idea of flipping those 4 boxes and putting them in the space across from the dumpsters. You can always do landscaping along the outside.
There's more to that.
Yeah.
The problem is for like solace removal, you're gonna have tractor trailers backing in all the time off of Triple I.
The utility shed over there. Utility shed over there.
I mean, you can do all that. It's just that the actual weight of these tractor trailers are gonna be talking 100,000 pounds. So it's gonna be, if they're cutting corners it's gonna destroy everything that's in this area. That's one of the reasons why on here anyway, it shows it has like an apron. That they would pull, you know, they would, exactly, they would pull in, they would cut over by where the dumpsters are currently and then back straight in into the solids handling building.
And just intuitively, that doesn't give you, without that piece of property, if I was looking at it from I gotta do this job perspective, that doesn't give you enough laydown area or storage area. Because you're gonna have contractor trailers, you're gonna have engineers trailers, you're gonna have places that, you're gonna have facilities for all the workers, you're gonna have laydown area and material area, rebar everywhere. I mean, it's just, you probably have rebar on tractor trailers, on flatbeds.
And we're trying to keep Tack Lane open so that we can continue to have business here and public safety can continue to have access to Triple I Road.
Yeah.
So,
And the DPW can get out.
and DPW can get in and out of the garage, absolutely. So we got to maintain all of our current operations, and that's going to take about half of the transfer station parking lot. And we probably, Margaret, I would envision that we'll actually be in some of that vegetative area beside
Anyway.
Tack Lane, because we're going to need that for parking for our municipal operations.
You may need to widen Clearwater Lane too, if these trucks sound.
There's potential for
Potential
that,
for
and
that.
there's
Yeah.
also have to maintain access to the existing facility for chemical deliveries.
Chemical deliveries, absolutely, yeah.
Upper side along between the existing building and Lagoon One, and that existing driveway, the reason we haven't taken that space and really tried to jam things in is we still need to get down to the building, the backside of the building as well. So it's maybe not ideal from that perspective, Margaret. We will, as part of our alternatives analysis and different layouts that we put in the study, we will look at that. But as Jim mentions, it's a very difficult area to try to build around. We're trying to build it as close to the existing plan as we can to keep all of that function in that part of the town property. But having just the construction process itself is going to take a lot of space and a lot of it's going to be very busy and very tight.
Right. Okay, well, we look forward to more news.
Sure, we'll keep you updated as we make progress.
Seeing it in the picture. Feel good? For sure. Okay. Jim,
We're just dealing with early winter. That's about it. And things are going well. The guys are all good. Equipment is good. We have just one slight issue with the new truck, and that's the wing. But hopefully we'll have that resolved. I put that out of commission because it's still operable, but we will, by using it, we will do more damage. So I don't want to do that. I've contacted Messer, where we got all the equipment for the plow truck, and they will be, they wanted me to send the truck over to them. And I said, no, I cannot do that. So I still have a spreader and a front plow, so you can come over here. And so they have committed to coming over here and to try to fix the issue with the wing. So that's our only little hiccup right now. Everything else seems to be running quite well, and
no big storms. but
no big ones yet, just as Margaret, as you say, nuisance storms.
Lots of nuisance. Yeah. Okay. Brooke,
We're having a great week at the rec department, super busy with people coming in and out doing all sorts of things, basketball, pickleball, tots and mats. Bingo, family trivia had 8 teams last night. Snowshoe hike out right now with 8 people, so people are really embracing, I think, the fact that we are offering things and everyone's abiding by our policies, so it's been a really awesome week there. That's about it, really. That's just top of mind right now is what's all going on there.
Yeah, just been busy around town. Nothing that's really out of the ordinary that we haven't seen. A few runs out of the ski area, about one a day. Yesterday, I think, was the only only one we didn't run this week. And knock on wood, we haven't got called yet today, so just heard the last chair go up. Joe Noricchio will be starting the full-time academy on January 3rd. So we won't see him for 3 months or so. James Sullivan started his field training. He just attended a 3-day course on field sobriety and DUI. And he's been working several times a week, getting trained up in field training. So we'll be glad he's still got a few weeks to go before he'll be out on his own. Some noise is not hockey, but just, dealing with just the busyness of the hotels. Pat and the guys have been reading to the kids. They have a regular weekly schedule where they're spending time with them either at recess or reading a book. And there's a differing schedule every week with a different public safety officer every week too. So that's started. We've also been assisting them with them and the academy with getting some drills in by the end of the month. We've done some reverse evacuations and some fire drills with them. We have a planned vaccine van for a vaccine clinic to be held here in town on the 22nd. We have a tentative location of BBTS just because they offered, and it might be a little bit bigger of an area than what we typically offer here. If there is we're going to start to advertise, but I've been waiting for the public health coordinator to actually, she's planning a site visit, I think after the 1st, to come see what her space needs are. So as soon as she gives me the green light for location, we'll start advertising, and it'll be open to the public for the day. Starts about 9 a.m. They typically go to 1, but if they still have a line, they'll stay open until either they run out of vaccines or run out of people. And that'll be open to anyone for first, second, or boosters. But I'll know more on that once she has a visit. Then other than that, I think that's it. We did submit our AFG grant for SCBA. That's been sent to the feds, and we'll wait and see.
Just a small note from me now that the cross-country trails are open and I'm not walking the dogs on the trails, I'm walking them on the road. I'm noticing way over 25 miles an hour on West Branch Road.
West Branch?
Yeah.
People
Okay.
have the back way of the mountain.
Yeah.
Yep.
They are moving. And I've gotten a few of them to slow down, with hand motions and that kind of stuff.
Sure. Any particular
Occasionally
time?
Yelling.
Any particular time?
Coming back in the evening and going out.
Yeah.
Okay. AM and then afternoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were moving. I noticed one car in particular was walking here from Snows Mountain Road on
Right.
Boulder Path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been 1:15, 1:30.
Sure.
middle of the day.
Even morning was when you drive, it just bothers me. They're in such a rush.
Yeah.
I was living in the valley yesterday. I was in a stream of 8 cars and some idiot jumped the whole 8-car line.
Yeah, our stops have been up. I actually put a police uniform this week and have been stopping cars myself just because of the increased traffic.
Right.
Just
Is that trailer still in storage? It's not.
We talked about it, but we just had that nuisance storm and we didn't want it to be in the way.
I understand.
And so, Pat and I did talk about it today about putting it out here.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the weather is tomorrow and maybe we move it to West Branch or
Are you
Boulder
telling
Path.
people on this to look off?
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm seeing more and more people that are just not even attempting to clean out the top. I saw one kid who's got a hole about the size of a melon.
Yeah, we're being selective because we could pull tons of almost every other car over. So the most egregious ones that we see, like the ones with the holes, those are the ones we're stopping. If they've got a little bit of snow up top. I tried to think of a way to reach them, so the folks that are doing that aren't the folks that live here, that aren't typically connected to our tip 411 and all that, to just do reminders.
Yeah.
I almost thought to see if we could borrow one of the state's message board signs to, during the hike, and just say, hey, Jessica's Laws, please remove
That's
snow.
something worth considering buying.
No, how about if you had a little flyer printed up, you could hand people when you.
Mhm. We do, and it usually has a fine at the bottom.
A personal flyer.
That's a great return on investment.
That's right.
How much do those go for? Do you know any idea? Just your standard message board?
They're pretty expensive. They're
They are?
about the,
Okay.
rate.
Instead of having the guy in the corner.
There is a program that the DOT has that for special events, you can request
Oh,
theirs. If that's something, they're pretty tight on that.
yeah. Surprised.
I think if we're having issues during a vacation week,
A paragraph
yeah.
for that one.
We even thought of doing something like even if there was like a volunteer group. I know we don't have enough staff to man it, but even if there was a place to do it where people you direct them over, and, there's brushes and.
Yeah. I think if we had flyers, you could leave on car windshields and stuff.
Yeah,
The next one.
we're addressing it as best we can. I know, I did, I think, 4 or 5 just myself in the last 2 days. So,
Thanks, Joe. All righty. I think that finishes with our department head, except for Steve.
Thank you, Margaret. Just one thing on our October 27th Selectmen's meeting, there was a vote to move the town's email domain out of a .org into a .gov. And I have just a letter here that I'll just need your signature for to start that process.
Be happy to do that.
Thanks.
All right, calendar review. Now it's budget season coming up. All right, yeah. I have the week open as long as we stay off the evening.
How many days, Mark?
Well, usually if we do 2 per, we could do it in 3 days, counting the CIP.
Mhm.
So would ask, we do have some testing for the water and wastewater departments. If we could get Dylan in early in the week, it would be better.
Why don't you figure it out and send us the schedule, and we'll make it happen.
So are there any days that don't work for you that I should stay away from?
Thursday for me.
So you cannot do Thursday, Mike?
Completely open all day, Wednesday or Friday. Tuesday, I'm good all day up until, they got the municipal solid waste committee meeting, but before that, anytime Tuesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, anytime works for me. Monday morning is back.
And I'm okay for any of those times.
Okay, very good. I should be able to get you in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and be done the first half of the week.
Monday or Thursday, what Monday?
Oh, yeah, well,
Monday.
Monday afternoon or Monday afternoon, Tuesday,
Monday
Wednesday.
afternoon,
I've got to be out at 4 on Monday afternoon.
Okay, well, we'll scratch Monday then, Tuesday, Wednesday.
If we start at 2, we will be done by 4 on Monday.
Can you do?
2 to 4.
Well, we could do one on Monday if we start at 1 o'clock. And
But
do
maybe
Dylan.
It won't be able to leave till about 11:30, so that might be pushing it for me.
Why don't we do 2 o'clock on
2 o'clock
Monday?
on Monday.
1:30.
2 o'clock,
2 o'clock.
yeah, 2 p.m. on Monday, that'll be Dylan, and then I'll get the rest of the department heads in Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay,
Friday in case something slips.
Yeah,
Are you available Tuesday? as well?
Tuesday, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday are all
okay.
open for
And
me.
our next regular meeting is January 12th at 3.
Yeah.
And the planning board meeting, January 13th at 8.
yeah, the planning board meeting, Margaret, will include any zoning amendments, public hearing on zoning amendments, and the rezoning of the green belt or to the green belt zone for the land we just purchased along Snows Brook.
There's nothing really substantial major in the zoning amendments. It's not like last year.
right?
No, right. Yeah, it's pretty simple.
July kind of stuff.
Okay. New business, the updated flood insurance study. I noticed somebody wrote me a letter. I didn't read the whole thing because I figured you'd help me with that, Mark.
Well, yeah, this is very good news. They're gonna formalize and permanently change the letter of map amendment that we did back in 2009. And it will actually shrink the zoning, the floodplain, sorry, not zoning, floodplain area along Snows Brook. This is a change that's been in effect since 2009-10. However, this makes it permanent within FEMA. They could always go back and rescind the map amendment the way we had it before, but this makes it a permanent change. And I think they're doing pretty well. It only took them 12 years to catch up with it. So, but the letter that I gave you in the packet just allows for a public comment period. There's nothing I think that we need to comment on because they are accepting all of the changes that we did. I forwarded this information to Wright Pierce Engineering. They're the ones who did the study to get the map amendment done. I just asked them to verify in their records that what FEMA has sent us for the adjusted zone is correct, but it looks like it is when we compare it to information in our records. So
do we need to do anything with this?
I think we'll be okay if you're okay not making any comment during the public comment period. We'll let it lapse, and then FEMA will make the change, and you can vote on amending the flood ordinance, the town flood ordinance, and adopt the new flood maps after FEMA makes their,
After the public comment period is over.
after the public comment period closes. Yep.
Okay. All right, the next item is the appointment of a new town treasurer. We have a proposal that Jeff Webb be our new town treasurer.
I will make that proposal.
Will you make that move? All those in favor? Aye. That was easy, Jeff. Okay, we have an alternate member request for the Conservation Commission.
I will.
All those in favor?
Aye. Who's the lucky person for the record?
Kelly, is it Kelly Cannon?
Kelly Cannon, yeah.
Yeah, letter of intent to Casella. I think we all had the opportunity to review that. So I think we're fine with that. Reports for the 2021 annual report. When do they due, Mark?
Well, we're gonna they'll be due third week of January to Sharon.
Mhm.
So if we could review them, put an agenda item in for the January 12th meeting and have a draft by then, Margaret. So we would need that draft by the 11th so we could put it in the packet.
And are we trying to reduce how much
Well,
has to be said?
Nicely played.
we have a lot of stuff on the plate, but I would rather have your report as the Board of Selectmen be the primary information to the town. We can limit the other boards if we have to. I really think that what you guys have to say should be prominent.
All righty. Well, I will get to work on that.
Okay. And Steve, if you have the original of the letter from the packet, could you get the 3 signatures on that, the one to Casella,
Sure.
please?
All righty.
We'll get that in the mail.
Coalition communities update, Mark.
Nothing, I wasn't sure what if we would be getting an update from them. I put that on as a placeholder, but we do know that there are at least 15 proposed bills that have placeholders for the session that begins the second week of January in the legislature. The read right now that the coalition communities group is seeing is that nothing having to do with education funding is going to be a top priority in the coming session. There are many other things that seem right now to be higher priorities. So I would not, there's no indication now that we're going to have to worry about any funding legislation making it through any committee. The committee chairs for Finance and Ways and Means, which are the 2 primary committees in the House and the Senate that deal with it. From a funding standpoint, their chairs are saying there's nothing that's going to happen. So we'll continue to monitor it, and we will go from there.
Board concerns and directives.
I just wanted to get back and let the other members of the board know that the planning board agreed with the select board's approach to the off-premises permitting process.
Okay,
Without going, I mean, I could relay all the details.
which we reviewed at our
We,
last
we,
meeting.
and basically said we're gonna do it this way. It was actually outlined very nicely in the draft minutes
Mhm,
for December 8th.
mhm.
And so they agreed with that process
Okay,
completely.
okay, good. All we have to do is follow it now.
Just follow, and I got the information about what zones it's allowed in.
Okay. Was that the zones in the draft minutes or?
Yeah, well, you had 3 of them, C1, BC, rec is accessory, I think HDR is accessory,
Okay,
and the special district that was carved out of, it's carved into rec, I guess, where BBTS is, I believe that's accessory as well. So I believe it's allowed in all those. No, I think the only one you didn't have was HDR.
okay. I can make those changes to the permit with the recommended changes to that and
Yeah.
send it back to you for review.
Run them over one more time. and-
Yep.
All right. Any other board concerns and directives? Anything for non-public? Whoa, okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Safe travel.
Happy New Year's. We'll see you on the 3rd.